Welcome back to the Made by Hand shop, everyone. I am Bobby Sharp. On today's episode, we're going to build a prototype, and it's this right here. This is a porch table that my sister wants me to build. They are building a new home, and she wants this for her front porch. Now, I thought I would start out by building a prototype. That way I could work out all the kinks, find out where some of the problem areas are, and I would suggest that if you have something complicated like this, that you would do the same. So building a prototype is a really good way of learning a new skill and finding out what processes might work and figuring out some of the machines and the setups that you would use to produce the parts that you need to build this. So let's jump into it. So I did do a drawing in SketchUp, and I made some notes here, and I'm going to set this off to the side. That was really just to tell me what the angles were, what the bevel was on the side of the base and the top piece, the smaller piece here. So this is the base. Now there will be a hole in the bottom of this for access inside. She is planning on painting this, and I'm going to make this out of poplar. It's going to be under a porch, so you know, really poplar is a good outside rot resistant wood as well. A lot of old log cabins, the upper logs, they use poplar. It was lighter obviously, but these slats are 1/2 inch thick by 3/4, and they have a 10-degree cut on the top and bottom, and this bevel on the bottom base and the top piece, that is also cut at 10 degrees. This is 14 inches across, and the top is 7 inches across, and I'm going to put in 20 vertical slats. So I am going to glue this. Of course, I will use Titebond 3 since it will be an outside project. And anytime you use something's going to be outside, Titebond 3 is going to be your go-to because it's waterproof. So, but just for this today, we're going to use Titebond 3. And I'm also using some 1.25 inch brads here. This is let's see, it's an 18 gauge gun. And that thing keeps doing that. I'm going to flip that around. So we're loaded on that. I've got some extras. Now, the other thing that I have done is marked a grid on this, and this is my center line for all of the vertical supports. So I'm just going to put a dab of glue, use the bottom to keep it perpendicular, and shoot a brad, 2 brads in here on the bottom. Then we'll do the top. That's the plan anyways. You know how that goes. So a little dab of glue, a little dab will do you. Get that lined up. think what I'm going to do is put opposing sides on and see how the top fits, and then we'll fill, because the rest of it will just be a rinse and repeat kind of a thing, and that way we can kind of have a show and tell at the end and show you how it looks. Well, I put that glue on the wrong side. Should be rinse and repeat, right? Nope. It's not a big table. This is, you know, just a small little table to put your lemonade on while you're sitting out at on the front porch, as us Southerners would say. But I just want to see, and that's not going to fit. So this is why you build a prototype. It doesn't fit. I don't know why that's so far off. Okay. That is rather strange. So I tell you what, let's do. Obviously, I'm going to have to make these angles a little bit steeper than maybe 10 degrees. That should be 10 degrees because I cut a piece of wood on my miter saw at 10 degrees, and that's what I set my bandsaw at when you saw me cut this big circle. So, all right, so let's go ahead and put more of these supports on, and we'll go from there. See, this is what I'm talking about. I need something to push against this, because as I'm pushing, it's wanting to slide across the table. So this is the kind of stuff that doing a prototype, you can figure out all of this crazy stuff that's going to work against you while you're doing this, and you can be ready for it when you actually do your project. So I'm going to get something and see if I can't brace this. All right, so I'm gonna nail all the rest of this on, and I'll come back and we'll look at it here in a second. All right, so this is the original, and it is 7 inches dead on it, like it's supposed to be. But I measured kind of an average on the top here, and I cut a new one, and this one is about 8 3/16. And I've also put all the marks on there so that we can center these up, and hopefully they're perpendicular to the base. That's kind of hard to measure. And I left this one out over here so I could See that? So that I could put my hand in here and hold this up. So, you know what? It might be better if we do this. And this is dried a little bit, and it's pretty sturdy. Look at that. Now my lines are on the wrong side though. What am I going to do about that? I guess what I need to do is put some registration marks on the side, and then we can see where the center lines are. Okay, so the next thing is how are we going to glue this? I think I'm going to get a couple of them in. I'll glue it here on the back side where I can see it. I'll make sure they're across from one another. I think that'll work. I can see that. I can look straight down that and see it. Let's see. I think that was, this one was next. Having this board is really nice because I can push up against it and keep my fingers away from the nail gun. Where did I put my other glue? Right there's one. And like I said, on the final piece will have a hole in the bottom, so I'll have to make sure that I make it big enough to get this top piece in there. All right. That looks pretty good. Now I can kind of peel these back and put the glue on here. I don't have any nails that have come out, but there's plenty of glue in here. Always when you're building a project, you have pieces like this, cut out extra stuff while you've got your machines set up. I had to go back and get out my circle cutting jig for the bandsaw and cut this piece. And actually I cut it oversized to begin with, and then I went back and realized that I'd already taken everything off of the bandsaw, and it was too big, so I had to trim it. And those split, but let me show you this. Homemade bandsaw. I don't know if you can see that or not, but that is really thin. It came off the outside of this. And of course, it's got a hoop in it there. We could probably glue that back together, and that's really accurate. I tell you, this bandsaw has just been really, really good. So one of the reasons why I left this piece off, there's a flat spot right there and it hits dead center. So it was hanging way out here like this. So I'm going to glue and nail the top in and then push the bottom in to where it should be. I don't know why I'm putting glue on this, because there's a space behind it. So principle of the whole idea, right? All right. It's really cool how you can take something and design it in 3D software, and something turns out and looks a lot like it. Funny how that happens, huh? So, I wasn't sure what I was going to do on the bottom here, and I think 4 blocks would probably be good to kind of keep this up off of the concrete under her porch, and I think those blocks would hold it up rather nicely. I do have a bunch of cutoffs. Matter of fact, let's do that. And these have angles on them, but that's okay. Let's just shoot those in here. Let's see what that gives us. It gives us a nice shadow line down here at the bottom. And you won't have to worry about any of these, trimming any of these longer stringers off. And the top, of course, is going to be larger. I'm not going to build a top for it today. I do plan on covering the build of this, but I wanted to go through and kind of show you the steps to building a prototype. It gives you a good idea of what you're looking at. I'm actually gonna take this to her, and you know, I might cut a piece of plywood out for the top. I'd rather not ruin some of the top, but I do have some pieces I might be able to glue up and then just cut a big circle. I do want a detail on that. I'll share that with you when I actually do this build, and I think it's going to look really nice. So I appreciate you joining me today while I put together this prototype. You know, it was really kind of simple, but we did run into a pitfall on a change on the top that worked out really nice. Thank you again for watching. Appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, give us a comment down below. Giving us a like and watching the entire video really helps me on YouTube. It builds my watch hours up, and it also lets the algorithm know that, hey, this is a popular or an interesting video, and that really helps me a lot. It doesn't cost you anything but a little bit of your precious time. I appreciate you spending it with me today in the shop, and we'll see you on the next one.